Hello guys, good morning. Today great news. Easy Tree Generator version 3 was released. Okay, and I'm gonna give you the overall what has been changed, and I'm gonna go into all the settings. There are lots of settings, so this probably will be a long video, but don't run away because it's worth each penny. I basically rewrote the entire thing. The whole logic in geometry nodes was rewritten by me because I figured while using the previous version that for more advanced things that I could achieve, I still was struggling and not having a happy uh, working with that to happy moments, and all that I wanted to be happy working with my tools. And then I figured I have to get rid of some ideas and implemented another new ideas in order to achieve a bigger range of trees that I could create with Easy Tree Generator. Let's go to this, okay? So basically, I'm gonna show you quickly the previous version. That's the previous version. That's what you get with the previous version, right? Of course, you are not in the realistic mode. If you go here and turn it on realistic mode, you will see something similar. But you can tell right away that this version it's not as good as this one. Okay, this one is the new is tree generator, and I've been adding so many other things in the background to make it looks more realistic, and that's what you get. Okay, so let's turn it off extra realistic. First of all, comparing with the other version, okay, I rewrote the entire UI. It's different. I figured that branch main and branch secondary with twig main, twig secondary, these can be very confusing, and all of them had their different settings. I tried to unify them all and make it easier to look through, go through what you are looking, changing what you are looking for in an easier way. So your brain can easily deal with the tool and you don't need to spend that much time learning it. Okay? So that's why I rewrote the entire thing. So I'm not going to the past because the past it's gone. Maybe just to show the optimization because that was a big work that I did on, and the animation. And let's go through this in a minute, okay? So right now you don't have branch, main branch, secondary branch, nothing like that. You just have branch, twig 1, twig 2, twig 3. That's all. Twig 1 goes out of the branch, twig 2 goes out of twig 1, and twig 3 goes out of twig 2. Easy to understand, right? So if we remove the leaves, okay, and we have all the twigs, uh, let me put it more here, maybe 10, okay, so we can see more. If we go through here, we can see, oh, that's twig 3, okay, twig 3 deactivated, twig 2 deactivated, twig 1 deactivated, branch deactivated, okay? I think that's easier to understand. That's not a big deal, okay? Now you don't have that confusion anymore, okay? So let's go through the settings quickly. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as it's possible, but there are lots of settings and I think it's worth it to explain them, okay? And also I've been working on the materials level to make it everything way more organized for you to use the tool and to feel that everything is on your reach easily, okay? Because, for example, in the previous version, this version, if you select your tree and go here to your material, okay, you have some materials here on your tree, but you don't have all the materials. You have some materials random because actually the materials are defined by here inside the geometry nodes. So I didn't care about this that much, but not right now. In the new version, you go here. If you go to your material, you have all the materials that you have by default in your tree. So if you want to reach any of those materials, let's say you are looking to the leaf material or you are looking to the bark material bark 4 because you want to change something else, you can easily find them here, bark 4. Okay, you don't need to go to your assets, right, and check it out where is the bark material. Okay, so that's something that I've been working on. And also inside the material you have a way better structure, and I'm gonna show you maybe in this video, maybe in another video. I don't want this video to be that long because it's gonna be long already. So take a look. Okay, first of all, the optimization. Okay, optimization means that you have to, you're not dealing just with one tree. You have to build that tree and put that tree in a scene. And most of the time, scenes with tree are big scenes, and you have lots of items. So if your tree hangs like it's just one item, imagine all together with other items of the scene. You need optimization. So instead of having lots of options, I just add a proxy system, and that's all. You can activate the proxy system clicking here. Okay, so you have three types of proxy: P lines, P mesh, and P points. P lines, you have just lines, right? If you turn it off your visualization here, you don't see them anymore. Okay, but you have P mesh as well, because if you turn it off, you can also see, and you have something very, very optimized that you can see on your scene. That's okay. And you can have P points as well, that if you turn it off, you also see them here. Okay, that's great. That's easier how it was before, because before was like this, right? Optimization, proxy, point clouds, okay? Mesh, and wire, and none. Okay, it wasn't that bad, but I'm gonna show you the difference. Okay, so you can tell this tree has less branch and has less geometry than the other tree. Okay, but if I try to animate my scene, okay, it's around 9 frames per second, 10 frames per second. Okay, this entire scene. If I put leaves here, then it drops to 7 frames per second. Okay, if I add if I add a secondary twig, so that drops to 5 frames per second. Okay, if I add anything that I've added in here, it drops a lot. And the problem is, if I turn it into proxies, look at that, it drops even more. It drops like insanely. You see, it drops like to, I don't know, 0.8 frames per second. That's how it was before. But now check this out. Okay, let's remove the proxy system. Let's bring the leaves on Twigs tree. Maybe no, we don't have Twigs tree. Twigs 2. Okay, so if we turn it on the leaves, and if we animated that, okay, I already have more or less the same as I had before. Okay, the frame rate is more or less the same, but if I activate the proxy system, the frame rate is almost it's real time. See, if I add a wind, which is another option of animation, and the frame rate keeps going like smoothly, you see. So that's amazing. That's a huge gain on performance, right? If you go to your mesh is moving, right? Your P points are moving, everything is working well, and that's one of the main things that I would like to show you here, right? In the new tree generator, in this one, and the animation system. Okay, I removed the leaf animations for now because I figured the animation we have now, it's good, but I will bring it back in the next version also, just as another option, you know, because that makes the leaves move themselves, and that's a very specific animation for very close-up shots, I guess. But I figured the thing that I had to do I didn't time to implement that. I didn't have time to implement that yet. Maybe in a version 3 point something, I would be implemented that. For sure, that will be back. Okay. And so, yeah, that's the animation. You have animation and intensity, and that's all the options you had before. Okay. So, but now look at that. Let's now gonna jump straight just to the new one. Okay. So you have optimization options that I already showed you, the proxy systems, okay? You have the general options, right? You have prepare for conversion. If you need to convert that into mesh, don't forget to prepare for conversion, because now you can take this guy here and convert into a mesh, okay? Don't forget to do that, right? Because otherwise, if you try to convert that into a mesh to export somewhere else, and you don't do that, it will just not convert the leaves. It will be out of leaves. So you have to prepare for conversion in order to turn that into a mesh and not having the geometry node system anymore. Okay. So the other option, general scale, it's scale up and down in a general way, right? It's scale up and down. That's it. Rotate shape, it changes the shape of your tree, like in fancy rotation. So but if you want to change abruptly, you just change the seed here, and you have a totally different tree right away. Okay. So you have the extra, still have the extra realistic, which if you turn it on, it blends the roots and the branches, okay, of your tree, and you can tell the difference right away because it turns into one single mesh, okay. And if you add extra details, so these add extra bumping details on your tree that makes even more realistic, okay. So you can have the extra details size. So you see, you can play around here, and you also can play around with the density of them, okay. So keep that in mind, that those are the general settings. All right. Now, if you go to animations, you see you have way more options for the animation now. Because if you turn it on animation, you can control the intensity, which is the let me turn it on the optimization so we can see it better, and maybe on a line level. Okay. If you turn it on the intensity, it's the speed of your animation, right? If you turn it on the scale, it's the scale of your noise animation, right? So you can turn it higher or small, so you will have like different kind of movements, right? It's up to you. You have control over all of these. And the distortion, be careful with the distortion, because you may go running into something that it's not ideal, okay. And now you also have the windy animation. The windy is one animation that turn the benches bending towards one direction, right? And it makes everything extra realistic, okay? Now if you turn it on, the winds animation, turn it off the animation itself, you see that the branches are going into this direction, okay. You can tell, right? You can speed it up then, so you see more what's going on, okay. That's what's going on. And you can increase, you can change the direction of the wind, okay. For example, right now the wind is going to which direction? Let's bend it more. Okay, so you can change the direction of the wind. And you can tell where it's going, okay. Play around with the settings and let me know what you think. And the better results will always come with a combination of both, okay? Because you can give it this speed and also these animations, so you have both animation combined and something nice, okay, to have it, right? Because those are small animation. You can change a little bit the intensity of these, right? So you uh, have all kind of options for animation, honestly, that you want, okay? That's the animation. The materials are these, right? Uh, Back in the days, in the previous version, that's I have to show this to you, because back in the days I didn't know this, but I realized it later. If we go to the materials here in the previous version, okay, and we change the bark to bark 2, so nothing happens, okay, and we don't have other options, maybe bark 3 and then something happen, okay, and bark 2, bark 3, okay, but it wasn't that good, it wasn't that organized, and we have branches and twigs bark as well, which I think that doesn't make any sense for what we want, okay. So right now it's much more organized, man. Look at this. You go here, okay, you have your tree, right? If you go here to your bark, and you can choose any bark material, and you see right away the difference between them, okay. Look at this. Look at this bark material, and then you can change it to 2 different, completely different material, 3 completely different material, 4 different, up to 5 different bark materials, right? And you are not gonna have these barks no anymore. Doesn't make any sense. Don't care about this anymore. I'm gonna remove that. And you have the stick material, because the stick matters. I will show you later. And there's no material, so you can change it all them here in your tree. You will have them all here, okay. You can change the settings here. And by the way, we are talking about materials. I'm gonna be showing you right here where you can change anything on your bark materials, because this is something that matters, right? So the bark material is this guy here, okay. So this is what controls the snow material, and those are the settings here. I did this because it's much more organized than this. Let me show you how it was before, okay. Before was like this. Bark, we don't have any even bark here, so whatever, don't care about that. So it's here inside the settings. You go inside the settings, and then you have your diffuse and bump, and those are the displacement. So you can change your texture here as much as you want, okay, and it will be changed there. And the snow is a property that when you turn your tree into snow, the bark changes as well to blend a little bit better with the snow, and I'm gonna show you later when we go to the snow settings, okay. So that's how you play around. You go inside this guy and play around here, okay. I also has fixed the leaf translucency. Now it's you, if you're going higher you get more translucency, if you're going back you get less translucency. That was flipped before. So minor changes that I did a lot of changes, man. Now you have your life is much better now. Look at this. So those are the materials. I first of all remove all the options. I just leave it the replace material first. If you want to replace any material, replace flowers material, replace fruits material. I don't recommend that, because um, uh, those material are normally UV mapped. So if you want to change them, That's up to you, okay? And you can turn it on to change the leaves material, and then you put in material here, and the flowers material, the same thing, okay? It's easy to understand, okay? And then you have your bark materials, you have your snow bark material that doesn't matter anymore, okay? Stick material is snow material, easy. I removed mesh replacement from here, and I added them inside of each of the parts, and I will show you. Okay, so you have your trunk, easy to understand. Let me remove the leaves. Easy to understand, right? The settings are pretty self-explanatory. Radius, okay, height, okay, and resampling. Resampling is the amount of resolution, okay. Everywhere you see resampling is the amount of resolution. And the noise scale and the noise power. The noise power is the power of the deformation, and the scale is the scale of the noise. Okay? Very self-explanatory as well. And the only thing that has changed, and now it's way better to understand, is the radius basic, which is just one setting. Okay? If you tune it more up to one, you have your base spread out, and that's all you need to know. You don't need more settings to get crazy on this. Okay, so the roots are now also better. Okay, roots are now also better because you can play around with your density here. Okay, the radius of your roots, the resolution, which in this case I am not putting resampling because I'm not putting resampling because this is actually not the sampling. Right? But this basically gives more divisions in the line. I may actually change it to resample, but not now. Let's keep it what we have now. The distance between the roots and the trunk, okay, the scale of them, general scale of them, move on Z, right? Random move on Z, right? The noise of your roots, right? And the noise scale, right? The same thing as you had for your trunk, okay? And the displacement that goes all over the entire geometry, and the displacement up, okay? This makes the root has this kind of shape here, okay? And the displacement scale, right? So those are the roots. And then you go to the branch. I put this guy here just to separate the general things from the parts of the tree. I think it helps to visual, okay? So you go to the branch. Branches are here, okay? And let me remove the rest. Let me remove tree too, okay? So you have the branch, and the branch now, you can change the density, okay? The resampling, the same thing, right? The length is different from the general scale, okay? And the length extend the branch, okay? And the radius in general, right? And the radius from the base, okay? If you tune it, almost zero. So you have the tips very tiny. I don't recommend that because if you turn that into realistic, you may lose some parts of your geometry. Rotate in general, rotate from the top, rotate from the base, okay? Trim from the top, trim from the base, okay? Size of the top, size of the base, okay? Control the size from the top and from the base, okay? Look at this, right? The noise power, okay? the noise scale, the noise scale, okay? And the bend control now has two controls, right? So you can go up and down. But if you have, let's say, more length, you may want to bend that from here. So you have the second control of your bend, which will allows you, right, to smooth out the bend more and having different bend depending on you. Okay, so you have those controls, and now you can see that the branch moves out of the trunk in a way more realistic way, because if you see previous version, the branch will never lose the trunk from will never leave the trunk just like this. Bam. You see, that's not realistic, and when you turn it on your realistic settings, that mitigates it, but still it's not the ideal. Okay, but right now it's moving right, going up and then bending. If you turn this to realistic mode, so you see there is a huge difference on realistic shape of a tree. Okay, and let's go branch. Okay, finish branch. We go to Twigs. Twigs has all of them has the same settings. So if I activate a twig, right? Twig 1, for example, I have the density, right? 16. I have the density. I have the resampling, which is also the amount of resolution you will have it, right, on the twigs. Let me remove twig 2 because twig 2 is making everything a little bit confused. Okay, twig 1. So now we just have twig 1, right? If we're resampling, we will have more or less resolution. Okay, let's leave it on 10, maybe 12. And the scale in general is different from the length, because the scale in general will preserve the shape, okay, and the length will go will really grow the line. Okay, sometimes you want sometimes you want a combination of both. That's important. Okay, radius in general, the same thing. Radius from the base, the same thing. Okay, the same thing you have for your branch. What else? Rotate from the top, the same thing, right? You can keep them very much aligned with your branch. Okay, rotate general. If you remove them, the rotation from the general, and do not rotate from the top, you have a very following the line of your root. Okay, but you can rotate them general, or rotate them, for example, from the base, right? Having something like this, and also rotating from the top. Okay, you can rotate it both and control the rotation really well. Okay, trim from the top, trim from the base, sides from the top, size from the base. Okay, noise power, noise scale. Okay, all the other twigs has the same settings, so it's just a matter of repetition. Flowers, let's put the flowers on, or the leaves. Let's put the leaves on twigs 1, so I can show you how it will looks. Okay, now you have an option here to put them on twigs 1, 2, or 3. Let me activate the other twigs so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can choose now where you can put your leaves. Before it was a mess. I decided to change the way we apply the leaves, but it wasn't really working as I expected, right? And also leaves now has way less settings, but I think it's for the better. Okay, you can choose twig 2 and your leaves goes on twig 2, or twig 3, right? All of them will have the same options. So let's remove the other twigs. Okay, now let's play around with the density and see. Trim from the top, right, and trim from the base works the same in all the twigs. Okay, the scale general of your leaves, the scale random, you can randomize the scale. Scale from the top, right, so your leaves decrease the size when they are getting close to the tip of your twig. Okay, that's important for some kind of vegetation. Okay, rotate general, right, and rotate from the base. Okay, if we remove the rotate general, we see them all are pointing towards the tip. Okay, and we can rotate them from the base. This means that we are rotating them but keeping them somehow pointing towards the tip in the base level. And then you can play around with general rotation. Do whatever you want and whatever you think that makes sense. Okay, that's pretty much it. Okay, I've been adding this option here that I will show you, which is tip, leaf tip up and down. Just be aware that if you turn this option on, you are kind of preparing for conversion because it has to realize all the instances. So the leaves are not instances anymore. It doesn't take that much of your render calculation, but maybe it takes more of your render memory, and your trees get heavier on overall simulation unless you bake it. If you bake it, that's fine. Okay, so if you turn it on, see what is happening. So this is happening with all the leaves in the Easy Tree Generator because they are defined for that. If you add your custom leaves here, in here you can change the mesh of your leaves. I forgot to mention that. All the meshes are here, right? So you can change them, right? And here are your custom leaf, okay? I just add these low poly leaves just to, in order, if you want to create low poly trees, you also can do that, right? Putting custom leaves, right? But let's go back to our main leaves. And probably your leaves will not work with the point tip down. Just the leaves that came with Easy Tree Generator because they have a specific property, okay? And you can play around how much it goes down. It's just because sometimes the leaves has this property, they bend a little bit down, you know, and it makes the overall thing looks more organic. Look at these tips here, right? It makes the overall looks a little bit more organic, but it's up to you. It's good to have this option. Okay, so you have flowers. Flowers and fruits has more or less the same property with a few difference. Okay, let me remove the leaves so you can see. Flowers, you also can make them on twig 1, twig 2, or twig 3. Let's also take twig 1 as an example. Okay, from the top, from the base, trim, okay, the density, the delete random means that it will be deleting random flowers because you may not want that much flowers. And this option wasn't available before, but now it is. So keep that in mind, okay? Let me do this so I can show you better, okay? So I have this option here. Randomize the scale, the general scale, okay? Randomize the rotation, okay? You also still have the explode. The explode means that you are gonna push the flowers in every direction to create some nicely spreading out leaves that you may want. Something like this, you know what I mean? It's up to you, okay? And the distribution to scale, because now you have two modes of distribution. Distribution 1, and let me put this down, and distribution 2. Distribution 2 is this guy that distributes flowers towards spherical geometry that is on normally on the tips, on your tips. You can delete random, so we will have just a little bit, and it will help us to understand what's going on. Remove the explosion, so that's what's going on. Okay, it's going on a tip, and I figured that is important because of some vegetation like hydrangeas, they have this kind of shape. Okay, but you can randomize a little bit, giving some exploding this. Okay, and the scale of a distribution. Be aware that as much as you scale up the distribution, the number of flowers will be increasing, you see, and going down will be decreasing. Okay, so keep aware of that, because you may want to have big ball full of flower, but then you don't want that much of density, so you can play around here. Okay, just be aware of that. Okay, these options is not on fruits for a reason, because I never saw a necessity for that, right? But let's go back to flowers and in the normal process, and you may want to have just one flowers at the tip, so you just press this guy and having just one flower at the tip, okay, of a twigs. That's what you want, just only one. Okay, that's flowers, that's fruits, those are fruits. Okay, and we also have here the fruits. Let's scale them. In general, you see they are here. Okay, and they are distributed all over the place on your twigs as well. Okay, so you can scale them, randomize the scale of them. Okay, randomize the rotation. Okay, and explode them also the same way you did with the flowers. Okay, and rotation from the base and rotation from the top. For some reason you may want to do that. Okay, let me bring a little bit down, and you can scale them from the top. Okay, let's scale them in general, give it more. Okay, and let's scale them from the top, so you have your fruits going a little bit less. Let's reduce the explosions. Okay, you can see that they are decreasing the size towards the top. Okay, you have fruit 1, fruit 2, right? And those are the options. And you also have one single fruit, the same as your flower. Okay, that's what you get with fruits. Okay, let me bring it back. Okay, and you also have your sticks, right? Your sticks and your grass, stick and grass. Okay, for in order to see that, let's remove the tree. If you remove the trunk, you remove everything, but not the roots. Let's remove the roots as well. Okay, you have your twigs, you have your sticks. Okay, your sticks materials are defined here specifically because you may want to change that. Okay, so now you have your sticks, the density, the rotation, okay, the resampling, which is the resolution, the seed, you can change the seed, the length, okay, the radius, right, the noise power, okay, and the noise scale. Okay, the same thing as you had before for the other things. And the bending control, because bending control now here is very important. You may want to do something like you may want to have that, maybe let's rotate something like this. You may want to bend it up, something like that, right? You may want to have something like this, right? You never know. It's your sticks. And you, of course, can choose to put your fruit or your flowers in your sticks and play around with the same thing, okay? The same thing, the same way. And you will have this power, right? You have this power of dealing with this. And yeah, let's get it random, maybe reduce the amount, this guy, okay, let's reduce the scale, and maybe the scale from the top, right? You may want to do something, right? And you can do that, the same thing you did for the twigs, the same thing for the flowers. You can have flowers on your sticks as well, the same way, okay? And you also have the grass. Let's remove the stick. You also have the grass. The grass now makes much more sense, okay? Because right now you have your grass with simple way of doing this. You have just your density, the leaf of your grass, right? And the resolution of your grass. I may put it too much. Right? And you have the distribution of it, which is, if you want to spread them, you have the rotation, and you have the scale, and you have the noise, right? You have the noise, okay? And now if you change the grass leaf, you have something that makes sense. Before it was kind of broken. The system was broken, okay? Now let's go back, bring it back our trunk. Okay, now we have our trunk. Maybe we should reduce a little bit the radius, general radius of the branch, because I changed it here and it wasn't that good. Okay, so okay, so now let's bring it back the roots just to see. Maybe increase the scale, increase the density a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now if we change the snow, let me show you, right? So we have our tree here. If we put the snow, right now it's way faster than before. The calculation for the snow, it's way faster than before. Okay, and before, let me see if you can check this out. Before, if you try to do the snow here, look how long it will take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, and your snow quality isn't that great compared with what you have right now here. So 6 seconds. Let's count here. 1, 2, 2 seconds maximum. So you have your snow scattered all over your tree, and you also have the snow inflate, which brings the snow, which inflates the snow more, so in an easier way than just the density. Okay, you can play around with both and see how it goes. Resolution of your snow, and if you try to render that, you see that the branch material kind of fade in a little bit with the snow. That is the reason for this guy here, okay, in your material. That's the reason. This blending is this guy here that is happening, okay? So if you remove the snow, that is removed, okay? So that's it. I hope you guys like it. The video was long, but it has to be because it has lots of new things, okay? And let me know on the comments what you guys think about it, if you guys like it, and what can be improved on these regards. I know that I already had implemented a lot, okay? So I hope you guys like it, use it. It's way more fun. Everything is working as it should. I'm very happy, excited by myself because I'm gonna be able to create so many trees with this in a way easier and predictable way than before. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. Check the link below and where this tree is available for you to buy if you want it. All the updates will be free forever as all my tools, right? The price increased a bit compared with the previous version because this version here took me lots of work to do and time to do. So I deal with basically with lots of studies. Even Houdini helps me in understanding how to make it better. Okay, so feedback, I got feedback from artists in the industries and how I could improve this. And yeah, lots of work, man, and I hope you like it. And yeah, if you like it, thumbs up. If you don't like, thumbs down. And subscribe my channel. I always gives you some tutorials about Blender, especially people transiting from Blender and Max. Now I'm talking about Houdini as well, so stay tuned. Yeah, and see you soon. Bye bye.